All right, welcome back to another fantastic episode of the Live Your Dreams podcast. I am Joe Gawalis alongside my fantastic co-host,
Chris Victor.
This is a very exciting episode. For those of you who are return listeners, return viewers, you definitely recognize this guest. She's one of our favorite people and our second time she's been coming on the show. This is a fantastic individual. She's not only an amazing business partner of ours, she's also a very dear friend. She is an actress, a writer, a producer, a director, and now adding to her very, very impressive resume, an award-winning filmmaker. Please welcome back to the Live Your Dreams podcast, Jody Mortara.
Hi.
Hello. How are you
Thanks
today?
for having me back.
Oh, we're very happy to have you back. You kidding me? It's always great to have you on the show. A lot of great things have been happening for everybody, Jody. It's been an interesting time, and we'll get into kind of what's happening with the business and everything. But how does it feel now? You have award-winning filmmaker next to your name. That's a big deal.
Well, we have award-winning filmmakers by our names. Yes, you know what? When I put this movie together originally, when I wrote it, I was thinking, gosh, wouldn't that be great if it could win Best Comedy Film? And then it did. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
that was just so awesome. So, yeah, I'm very pleased. And we've got a couple of other things under our belt. And then we're waiting to hear on one more. So I'm beyond pleased because it really is an affirmation of the original vision, what we did as a group. And then to know that people actually like it and it resonated with the audiences is pretty darn good. So, yeah.
You're absolutely right. It's interesting because we were just on a show previously, and we were kind of talking about the new way distribution actually works, which is very interesting, right? So Coco comes out, it does pretty good, it starts getting into the market, and what's different in this world nowadays, all of a sudden something clicks, and all of a sudden now Coco's getting into all these festivals all over the place. It had a nice audience before, but now it feels like the audience is just expanding and expanding and expanding. We're winning awards, we're getting seen all over the place. We're just at the American film market represented by indie rights. It would look fantastic. Things are going so well right now for Coco. How does it feel as a filmmaker going through this process and going through, years ago when you kind of just had a film come out and you had a quick run with it and it disappeared, to this new modern way of when you get a film out? It seems like it's it's almost like you're living with the film for a lifetime now. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think the message here is make sure you like the film you're doing because we stuck with it for a long time. It's like, I remember years ago hearing, I can't even remember what group it was, and the woman was asked, what do you think about always being asked to do your main song? She goes, well, you better like it because every time you perform, you have to do that song. Your audience requires it. And she goes, there are times where you're just going, oh my gosh, I got to do this song again. So I think that is the key, maybe not do a movie just to try to get in the door. I mean, we all have done that and thought about it, but then you're stuck with it.
The other thing I would add to that is that, you also love the people you're working with in addition to what you're working on.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, look how much time we spend together. And if we absolutely hated each other or just was annoyed, we'd be stuck. So that is actually probably the most important thing is who you're in bed with.
Yeah, no. You're absolutely right. I mean, we just had a fantastic job, fantastic time. The three of us actually at AFM in Santa Monica. Coco was represented out there by Indie Rights. Are doing a fantastic job. And our distributor, Linda, and her team put on a very nice gathering for all the clients of Indie Rights. So the three of us got to go to this great gathering together, spent some really nice time together in Santa Monica. And you're right, we had such a good time together, spending that time together. That really makes all the difference. If you're just doing a film nowadays to do it, you better rethink it because it's not like when you just used to put them out and ship them and you're done. You spend a lot of time. We've been together nonstop, literally for like 3 years now. Every day we talk. We talk every single day, right? It's incredible.
Well, I just want to say, absolute kudos for Linda Nelson for everything she does. And when you meet the people that are part of her stable of films, they're incredible people. And you don't get that competitive looking over your shoulder, somebody going to do something. The people are real filmmakers. They're very decent. And it was an honor meeting all of them actually at that party, right?
We met so many good people there. Everybody was a class act looking to collaborate. Linda has a great team of people around her. And the key to that, is collaboration. This business, you do need great people around you. And we talk about great people around you and the way this business works. There's been an interesting past year. We've been going through a lot of kind of turmoil in the indie film world, or just the film world in general. We've been going through the writer's strike, the actor's strike. And the last time we had you on the show, the actor's strike was just beginning, and now the actor's strike is ending, and it just ended. So it's a very unique thing. You were on right at the beginning when it started, and right at the end now when it ended. And, you know,
I get the bookend.
The bookends, right? What's interesting, though, is the first time you were on, it's very unique. You know, we weren't really able to go into extreme depth about Coco and all the hard work we all did on this project because you weren't allowed to promote during that time period. That was part of the actor's strike. As an actress, as somebody now, as an actress, as an actor, as a woman actress, as a filmmaker, how did that feel for you? You just had a project that you wrote, that you put years of your life into. And we were told, you can't talk about this. Very unique time period, right? We understand strikes are necessary. But as a working actress, how did this strike impact you? Think about this too, Chris, because we're all actors here, we're all in front of the camera. From your perspective, Jody, how did you feel this impacted you as an actress, this strike, and going through trying to promote a project that just came out and now being told you can't?
Well, okay. So the reason I wanted to do Coco to begin with was I wanted to write the kind of lead role that I wanted and to be able to get the funding together and have control over the project so that nobody could take the role away and replace me with some big name actress. So in doing that, the idea is that I will be able to promote myself as an actress, as a filmmaker, and do it directly after the movie is distributed. But instead, we couldn't say anything. We couldn't do anything that really put our movie out there and my work as an actress out there. And it was all hushed up. Nobody was casting. Nobody was, putting projects out on breakdowns. There was nothing. Yeah. So it was like the worst possible time to have this milestone in my career come out and then be, hand-tied to not being able to, market what I did, promote myself, try to go to that next role as an actress. So it was not good. It was very disturbing, and it was, it just kind of felt like a little bit of a ripoff. And I know I'm not the only actress who feels this way, but for me, it felt like a ripoff.
No, yeah. I know, but
I feel the same way. I mean, it's very, really, they robbed us from something we worked so hard on. And, now I feel like screaming from the rooftops, and basically then we can now finally celebrate our success of completing a film, which, takes a lot, takes years of your life.
Yeah.
Because really, when the momentum started running for Coco, we got an amazing marketing team behind us. We started things going. People don't realize getting marketing going and pushing a film or a career as an actor, an actress, whatever you're doing, a writer, it takes a lot of momentum. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of small victories that add up. And then you get one big victory like this is really going to make a huge difference. And then all of a sudden the gate comes down in front of you and they say, no, you can't.
Right.
Which is very, very scary at some points, that your career can kind of be stopped like that, because we're all very fortunate that we actually all have representation. We're all actually represented by Catherine, who does an amazing job at NWA. We have, other agents that represent us as well, but she could have got us out there, did a lot of work. I mean, to be a lead actress in a film that's out there right now, winning these awards, that is momentum. I mean, very rarely do people ever get that momentum in their career. I mean, you did a fantastic job. Coco was you and Megan. I mean, there's so many great actors. John Ceresi's great, Sienna Daddario,
totally wonderful.
John Beneri, Marianne. Everybody's fantastic. But the heart and soul of the movie is it's about two sisters that find their bond that are so opposite, right? Everything else is the icing on the cake, literally, that kind of adds that next layer of flavor. But what's really the core of it is the relationship between these two sisters. And you and Megan had such beautiful moments. I love what you guys did, and I can't wait, like Chris said, to scream from the rooftop so more people see what you guys did. This is very exciting, and you guys deserve all the accolades that I'm sure you're going to get very shortly through all our hard promotion.
Well, Megan was the perfect hope.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
When you remember when we saw her, I guess she sent a video of some of her work, and we just went, there it is.
Yeah.
So I loved having Megan there, and she and I played really well together. And the comments were that we looked like we were real sisters. So that was really quite flattering.
No, you guys do fantastic. And I think that was actually our co-producer, Sienna's friend, Dario. I think Sienna recommended Megan, I think, at the end.
Yes, she did.
Yeah. So really good shout out
Sienna.
to you, Sienna. Nice job trying to find her, because that was the perfect person.
It was excellent.
Oh my gosh.
You never know if somebody says, hey, look at my friend, doesn't work out. But that was the perfect.
Usually it's no.
Yeah, the perfect people. And we had a couple people like that. We had John Benary, that was very impressive, that came on board, and James Fulliter, who played Delancey, also we've worked with in the past. A lot of great actors that were in this piece that we just want to show off their fantastic work that we couldn't before. And I'm not ashamed to say it right now. I will plug us. We are available. Anybody interested in Coco, streaming right now on Tubi. You can check that out right now for free, which is fantastic. If you do want to pay
Amazon Prime,
get it on Amazon and Amazon Prime. Also is streaming through Indie Rights on YouTube and on Google Play Movies and TV. So Coco is available all over the world right now. And we are actually, very exciting news, the Coco film, we're not sure who's going to be there or if we're going to, but right now we know Coco will be also playing in France very soon. So that's going to be very exciting for us as well. So we're going international, Jody. It's happening.
That's right.
It's all happening.
We are. And it is very exciting. And just, I don't know, whoever thought.
I think we all. I loved it. I mean, when you brought this project to us, I mean, it was 2020 or 19 at the time when we started really talking about this, and everybody loved it. And what's beautiful is we were telling people at the American film market about Coco, and we were really showing off the trailer and telling people what we've been up to. What blows people away is they said, "You guys shot this in the pandemic? Like, that's not possible to shoot something of this quality level during that time period." I mean, people forget. We were working under zone restrictions and very limited crew members and cast members, and this beautiful piece of art that you wanted still kind of took place. So I'm very proud of everything we did with this movie. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Well, I think we touched on this in our last interview, but it's worth repeating about our glorious night at the train station.
Yeah.
And that night, and poor Joe, not only did we have to rewrite, reblock, redo everything on the spur of the moment in the middle of the night, but it's freezing cold. It had been raining all day. Joe gets a call that one of our actors was in this horrible car accident. So he had to deal with that. He was trying to be quiet so I wouldn't know and freak out as I'm trying to rewrite, reblock, redo everything on this end. He's doing that. And then we had an issue with the dog.
Yeah.
Coco is the dog right somewhere in that poster. Can you see Coco?
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Coco's right between hope and faith, but when you have hope and faith, miracles happen, like us completing this wonderful film despite all the obstacles we present.
Thank you. Exactly, including crazy nights. But all well, that ends well, and everything worked out okay. But that was the night to remember of complete chaos and guerrilla filmmaking at its best, I think. So honestly, the entire experience from start to finish had a little bit of every single thing you could possibly get in a movie, or all movies combined, and then except for the giant budget. We didn't have that blessing, but next time.
No, exactly. And people don't realize, when you're setting out to make a feature film, and again, making a short film, making a 2-minute film, any film that you make is a difficult endeavor to undertake. When you're doing something like this, that's 90 plus minutes, and you have shooting schedules that are almost a month, and you're there for a long period of time, something is going to go wrong. It happens on every production, no matter if you have $1 or $100 million. Things like weather happening, an actor in a car accident. You can't control these things. The real craft of filmmaking comes into how do you handle the problems. Because it's great when you have those nice days and you go in there and everything works smooth. I mean, then it's a lot of fun. But what do you do when you have your lead actor? One of your lead actors gets in a car accident, and the next day you're working with all your named talent that's supposed to be with this said actor, and now you have to cancel all them, and you have to rebook them, and you have to rebook locations, and all this is going on at once. And then that was a day of exteriors that was supposed to be a bright, sunny day that had just decided to rain all day. Hey,
but you know what? My daughter actually noticed when I'm sitting on the stairs with Megan.
Yep.
Dad, she goes, "Look, it's raining for the sadness." That was Bailey.
Oh no! I mean,
yeah. I mean, it was like we planned this drizzle to come down with the sad.
Well, that was Chris standing there with a hose. You didn't see him behind you. He was
always available.
and you had a little fan making it look even more wild and crazy.
You know, it actually ended up working beautifully. I love that. And actually, the whole dreariness actually fits the tone of that scene. I love the experience, and it was fantastic. Now, the film is starting to do fantastic, Jody. Getting very excited. Now that the world is opening up again, the strike is coming to a close. As an actress, not just through Coco, where do you see yourself kind of going next? Do you see yourself trying to get more roles? Do you see yourself writing more roles for yourself? I'd love to hear more about what's next on the journey for Jody now that you're kind of able to speak about yourself more.
Well, most certainly I would love to be in other people's projects, but I got to say, doing it yourself and sort of being, with a little team, like our little team, that makes the decisions, decides how things are going to go. You don't have to answer to anybody. It's really nice. And yes, I would rather, come up with my own projects or projects we all come up with together and do those. But again, if, somebody wants to talk to me about their project, I'm all ears. So.
Yeah, well, that's good. So you are already out there, ready to work. Anybody listening, she is fantastic. I had the pleasure to, co-direct you. So I actually really loved the experience. I think there was a lot of great moments. One of my favorite scenes, again, I always say in the alleyway with you and Megan, I think that is my favorite scene in the entire movie. That scene speaks to the whole thing. Now, again, that's an emotional scene for everybody watching. So that's one of the heavier scenes in the film. There is a lot of comedy, but I think that scene just says it all. And your ability as an actress really speaks there, Jody. You did a great job in that scene.
Thank you.
That was a lot of fun.
If you like slapstick, you go into the doctor's office. That was an excellent scene for myself with you and Megan and what you had to do to navigate around that secretary.
Yeah.
That was actually really fun.
Yeah.
You guys are falling on the floor 2:00 in the morning. We shot that overnight. You guys are chipper and funny. You wouldn't know. I mean, that was one of my fantastic scenes too. And Pat Swearingen did a fantastic job. And Trisha, like Chris said, as secretary, she did fantastic. It was a great group of people. So funny. I mean, those characters are fantastic. And now that people can finally see Coco, I think people are really going to enjoy it. I think people are going to have a lot of love for it. And ironically enough, there's 2 festivals that we're going to be going into in France. The French seem to love the humor of Coco, Jody. How do you feel about that?
No, I've been told that that's the kind of humor they like from friends who actually live there or had lived there in the past. And they said, the humor of Coco really resonates with that audience. So let's hope it does. Seems like it so far. I mean, obviously.
Well, I spoke to an American the other day, actually it was yesterday, about Coco and where we're going with France. And she said she really loved the film. She goes, she didn't hear as much about it, from her friends, but she actually came to the premiere and she loved the film. She goes, it's a great film. She can't wait for everyone to see it.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, I think, what you were saying earlier, Joe, everything has a time and a place. And for whatever reason, there is so much turmoil in our industry and going on with the streaming platforms. I think a lot of good movies got lost during that time. And luckily for us, like you say, if you're not out in a theater and if you don't make it in, the theater and the audience doesn't want to come, you're kind of done. Nowadays, you just can go forever. I think Linda had that one project that didn't do much. And then 2-3 years later, just started going crazy. So
this whole resurgence.
Yeah, and I think it has a lot to do with what's going on in the world and what the temperature is with wars, pending wars, no wars, happiness, affluence, I mean, I think all that stuff plays into a comedy in my case, our case. So, and maybe as things get worse, people want more comedies. I don't know. I certainly don't want to have that the reason why it does well because the world is at odds, but take whatever you can get, right?
No. I think that's okay. I think it brings a lot of joy to people. But what's really great about the film, your writing speaks to this, is that there's a lot of layers to Coco, and people could see some of the reviews out there that talk about this, where if you look at it at the surface and you're kind of just glossing it over, it looks like a funny slapstick comedy. But the levels of depth in the writing and the characters and their character development and really the deeper meanings behind all these scenes, it's a very philosophical, deep movie when you actually sit down and watch it. Or you can sit down and watch it and have it on and listen to it as you're also just, cooking in your kitchen, watching it to the side, and you'll laugh at the humor. So there's so many ways you can watch this movie. You can sit down, want to learn something for it, or you can sit down with your kids and watch it and just laugh at the slapstick humor in a situation. So that's great. I think there's a lot of levels to it, which is fantastic.
It's funny because I remember at the first screening, we had that little 4-year-old girl.
Mhm.
And then we did at the second screening in Morristown. But
Mhm.
all of a sudden it was, well, wait, these are little kids that love the movie. And I remember years ago watching some cartoon on like a Saturday morning cartoon thing with my kids when they were really little. And they just thought it was the greatest cartoon, but there was another level to
Mhm.
that cartoon. And it was a lot of sophisticated humor, world events, and things that the kids couldn't get, but it appealed to both audiences. And I was actually really honored when those 4-year-old, 5-year-old kids were going, "We loved your movie." And really? Okay, that's very cool. So they see something completely different. So it truly is a family-friendly movie. So for anybody wondering,
you see the background, everyone, that poster is a beautiful poster, comprised, it shows the high level of energy and action that's in this film.
Yeah.
But all those characters are real people, and you're seeing the cartoon caricature of them, and it just really, it sells it as much as their personalities do with the film.
Well, yeah, we've got Carmine Frangiolini, the red-faced guy, right? You can't really figure out where you're pointing on these.
Yep.
The whole mob, contingency is there, and we're missing some characters in the back. And Chris, you're back there somewhere, but we have a police car. Every character, as was Joe's suggestion, is in this poster. And so, obviously we've discussed this before, but since the characters are all written, anytime that we want to move on with a cartoon, we got all the characters.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, that will feature the dog.
Of course. No. And, it's interesting because kind of like how Hope and Faith see the world through different perspectives, your character is like this ex-cheerleader who kind of sees the world in this flighty, everything is perfect kind of way. So like I can almost see Faith seeing it like a cartoon, like everything's fine, it's going to work out. And Hope sitting there like, oh my gosh, like the example of you two in the car is the perfect economy of how you guys think about things. It's really unique. Is it like getting pulled through your antics? Yeah. So it's really fantastic.
Kieran Meaney is the artist, and when she put this together, I mean, I gave her like descriptions of each character, but she's the one who came up with this for one. And then Hope, all nervous and frantic, which she is. She's the sort of the brainiac, the one who worked for a very iffy pharmaceutical company, creating things. And so she's nervous. And so that picture there. It's funny. So, so we, I don't know if we talked about this before, but I'll bring it up again. So we were asked a number of times to come up with a TV version of Coco. So we've done that, and we've got our pilot written, and it takes off where we leave off on this movie. So we hope that it will be coming out in, sort of soon time frame.
So,
watch for it. It's called Coco Capers. So hopefully we'll get started on that sooner than later.
No, the development's been going really well with that. We're all very proud of that project. And I think that's what listeners, especially people that are following their dreams. Development takes time. It takes time to get these things going. You just don't say, I have an idea for a TV show. Here it goes. Even if you have a successful movie before it, you need to develop the team. You have to get the scripts ready, financing ready, distribution platforms ready. It is a process. So anybody that does watch this to learn about following their dreams or breaking into especially the film or entertainment industry, it takes a lot of time to get something going. It takes a lot of dedication. And it actually takes a team, like Jody said, around you that actually cares about the product and the people in the team, because there's a lot of yeses, a lot of, forward momentum, and then all of a sudden something stalls for a few days and you get more momentum, then it stalls for a few days. So it's an evolving process. You have to work very, very hard at it, but we're very, very happy with what's going on so far.
Well, and also don't give up on your dreams. If your dreams are really important to you, just keep it going. I mean, all of us, that's what we've been doing. And for me, it took a long time to end up with this dream being actually realized. So, if your dream is iffy and you're not that willing to put the time in, then I say move on to another dream. But if your dream is, I'm willing to do the work, wait until it happens, then carry on, because it's a lot of fun on the other side.
I love what you just said, Jody, because with regard to, I heard this saying a while back, you wouldn't have the desire if you weren't capable of achieving it. So I believe everyone has a purpose in life. Some people it's to be a mother. You happen to be a mother and a filmmaker, but you may have more than one purpose in life. So it really depends, and you have to know yourself, and what is that fuels you is probably most likely what you're meant to do.
That's actually really good. I didn't even think about that.
No, you're
Also,
right.
I just want to bring up one thing in the Coco Capers. There's a couple of new roles, and one, Joe Gawalis is going to be, gracing the screen with a new character. So just look for that too.
Oh, well, I'm privileged. I rarely get to be a performer anymore, but I love when I'm in front of the camera. So I've been very blessed to been offered a great role by Jody, and I graciously accepted that she's writing for me. It's fantastic. I think the TV series is hilarious. There's a lot of great returning characters, a lot of great new characters. It's going to be a lot of fun because I think this movie, it just lended itself to be a TV series because there's so much depth, there's so many characters, so many directions you can go in. So this is really the type of material that definitely fits better on the smaller screen because you have so many different directions you can go in. Now, as a writer, Jody, how does it feel? I mean, there's a big difference between writing a screenplay for a film and writing, episodes for a TV show. How did you find the difference? Do you enjoy writing for TV a bit more? I'm sure there's a lot more freedom. You have different directions you can go in. When film, you kind of have to have that start and finish. When TV, you can kind of overlay. How have you enjoyed the experience differently writing for TV now?
Well, I think you and I discussed this early on that writing for streaming is different than network TV.
Oh, yeah.
Which I've never done. But I've never done a lot of these. Let's get serious. A lot of firsts for me. But for the streaming idea, it's sort of almost like a serial, right? So it doesn't have to end. And I like that a lot. I like that whole new idea of TV shows or streaming shows where you get to where it should have a hard end and a wrap up, but you don't have to. And to me, that's really fun because it's plus people, they binge watch, let's face it. So
Sure,
you're watching it, what's going on? They just keep watching. So it's just like one continuous thing. So that I really like because you're right. In a movie, you have to have a conclusion, not necessarily, but you do mostly. So I think it's going to be fun actually writing for a TV show and creating, strange characters, fun characters. And I think your character is going to be a blast.
Oh, can't wait. I think the character's a lot of fun. I mean, all the characters are fun. There's going to be so many great roles in this. And I could see this going for years to come. I think a nice family-friendly show is needed right now. It has the humor, it has all these different aspects. I think people are going to be very, very excited. Now, besides that on the horizon, even outside of the realm of Coco, you have a lot of amazing projects. I mean, look at what you've been doing. You also have an amazing foundation we're going to talk about you can get into, and there's even properties attached to that. I can't wait. You have podcasts, TV shows. You are doing everything. It's fantastic what is happening in your world. I'd love to hear a little bit more about the Needs 2 Foundation because it's fantastic what you're doing with that and how you're helping a community out there.
Well, the Needs 2 Foundation deals with all things special needs. So the mission statement actually is sort of addressing the hardships, really, of the 56 million underserved special needs people in America alone. So we do it through media. And that means we can do it through TV shows, we can do it through live shows, anything media we can do within our foundation. So I wrote a show a few years ago called Needs to Big, which I have a nice sizzle reel and a few episodes shot. And it deals with 4 different members of the community. 3 are autistic and 1 is a Down syndrome woman. They're fantastic. And when I got into this world of the special needs, I had no actual hands-on relationship with anybody in the community. And so it was really odd that God gave me this show. God gives me whatever I do and I shut up and listen. So as I started to, research and meet people within the community, I was like, wow, this is a really interesting group of people. But it wasn't until we started shooting the Needs to Big show and I saw the way these people work. They came to the set completely prepared in every way, totally professional. And I realized as the day progressed that I had never had so much fun on a set as I did with this group. We had a blast. They were the most inspiring, wonderful people. And so what the whole purpose is to teach Americans in general, and especially employers, who the community is, so they learn. Because yes, the people in this community may work differently in a job. They may handle things differently, but that doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it different. So my thought was, if I could have a show on every week and people could start to be familiar with this community, how they do things, then when a member from that community walked in for a job, they would understand, okay, this is what I'm getting. I like it. They're loyal. They're looking to step on everybody to, get to the top. They're just so happy to be in an environment to work and be respected. So that's basically what the whole thing is about. And we're doing a podcast, which you're part of, Joe. And
I'm very, very proud to be a part of anything you're a part of, Jody.
Thank you. So that podcast is more about, bringing people into the fold and having a lot of different people that are actually really well established in this community come on the show and talk and educate that way too. And then at the same time, we'll be moving forward with the Needs to Bake. And there's a lot of different needs to machinations off of that IP, intellectual property, for those who don't know. I almost didn't know just then. But anyway, so that's kind of where we're going with that. And I'm hoping that it turns into what I envisioned, which is people actually getting involved with the foundation so that we can take the money we get from the foundation to actually help the community with grants, education, things like eventually we're having bakeries franchise that people can be a part of, and we would help them get established in that. So it's not just about a show to teach people. It's about taking members of the community, getting them set up, either through education, through job training, through grants, to get their own businesses going as well. So it's pretty big. It's very big.
Oh, yeah, you gotta be.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you mentioned about the reach now that you have, that you wanted to do this in the media where it can reach around the world like our films do as well. That's fantastic, because not only are you helping that immediate community, but you're teaching people to fish. Other communities around the world can say, that's a great idea. It's working. Let's do that here.
Yeah, teaching them to fish. I like that.
No, I love that. That's we got to put that in the EPK right there, right? That's
that's really good, and it's true, because you don't know, and this community doesn't want to sit there and have handouts. They want to do what they want to do. They want to be involved. They're willing to work. That's what that first day on the set taught me with the community, was that they were completely raring to go. They wanted to do this. They wanted to be a part of everything. They loved it. They added so much. They were so creative. So, it taught me a lot about what I was supposed to be knowledgeable in, which I am a lot more now. So, but on the podcast, if anybody decides to watch it, it's called Needs To. Two of the people on there have been involved in this community for like 25 years. So they're very well connected, very well informed. So you'll get a lot of good tips about, how to work within the community from them.
And we'll have links, any descriptions of Jody's podcast for Needs To. We'll have a lot of information in the links below. People can check that out too. We want to promote that as much as we could on this show also. So what's fantastic is, people, this is actually happening right now. There's a lot of great things going on with the foundation. Things are starting to move. We've had some great conversations. We can't tell you too much about what's going on because there's still some negotiation and things happening, but we're looking to partner up with other groups out there. This foundation is moving. The shows are going to be moving. So this is very exciting stuff. So anybody who is interested in getting involved, we will have emails and descriptions and a link below how you can contact Jody and the foundation and get involved, because this is happening a lot quicker than people actually may anticipate. So things are around the corner for this stuff. So get involved now. It's very excited. I'm very proud to be a part of it. We're all going to be making these shows together. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great.
Thank you, Joe.
Oh, you kidding me? Absolutely. We can't wait. I think it's going to be huge. I think there's a lot of aspects, and I think, Chris, I love that. I think we're going to have to put that quote right in EPK. Chris Victor quoted, producer said, "We are teaching people how to fish here." That's fantastic. I love that. That's what people want to do. That's a great quote. I think the more quotes we have in electronic press kit for users, those of you who don't know what an EPK is, the better, actually. So there's so much that's going to go on there. I'm very proud. Thank you for even including us in anything going on with this, Jody. That's fantastic.
Of course. Now we'll get other people that have been supporting us all the time to support that cause as well, and we'll be on our way.
Yeah, no, things are happening. Things are happening in a big way. I mean, right now, the with the industry now finally pulling out of this kind of nose tailspin it was in, I mean, it feels like this is the time that everything is going to start happening. And again, any listeners out there, when you are in business for yourself, that if you're in a film entertainment world, if you're opening up your own mom and pop store, there will be periods of time where it feels like, wow, what can I do to get out of this? And it may not be your fault. We had nothing to do with the strike. We had nothing to do with the COVID pandemic. We had to navigate and find ourselves to get past that kind of point. And when a lot of times you want to say, maybe I want to quit, it takes a great team around you not to stop and keep going and look at these beautiful things that you end up creating on the other side. So it's always good to keep going forward.
And this is one of the first times in the history of this entertainment industry that we're all a part of that you can do things without being part of the mainstream of Hollywood. And that, it's actually remarkable. Just keep your budgets low because the money isn't really there yet. I think it will be eventually, but you can put out the kind of content you want, the kind that, a lot of viewers want and they can't find.
Yep.
So I say, just adjust how you do things, but definitely do it. We need good content, truly.
I agree. Content is everything, and the right content is beautiful right now that we can get things out there. And I'm glad you said adjust your budgets. Now, again, if you can go out there and raise millions of dollars, that's fantastic. Please try if you want, but be ready to understand that the way distribution works is completely different than it did 3, 5, 10 years ago. It's completely different. Right. You may not see these big checks up front. So I always tell people, even if you're ambitious, don't do anything crazy. Don't leverage your house. You may find yourself in a little bit of trouble. Now, again, if you have multiple homes and you want to take a chance, nothing wrong with that. But please, always educated risk. Don't go out there and think that you're going to change the world and you're going to put everything on the line. Calculated risk is much better than just kind of throwing the dice. Would you say that, Jody?
Knowing that you don't really know what kind of money is on the other side, do what you want to do it slim.
Yeah.
But have fun with it. And, I think we found that we actually could put out a beautiful product because you were willing to jump on the ship with me. And Chris has been fantastic marketing, going out there, blabbing it to everybody, giving out cards and posters and T-shirts. And, you need a team. You truly do, that believes in the project and the product and is willing to support it, knowing that eventually it'll pay off.
How do you feel about that, Chris? You can attest to this. You've seen the business change a lot from the days of doing pre-sales and DVDs and all that stuff to now, like Jody said, you have to have a belief that things now take a little bit longer through streaming and you have to pay off. I mean, what's your reaction to that, Chris? You saw the industry going on its head.
Yeah, I've seen it. But what I love about, working the three of us together, plus the team of Coco, that we've pivoted. We've able to keep this film and our business alive, by basically pivoting. Like I said, that whole saying about being most adaptable to change. There's a lot of change going on. We adapted to it. Some beautiful things came out of this with like podcasts and other future shows. Now the streaming, we saw the money come down, but we have other ways that we can still be able to get our product out, to still tell the stories. Like I say a lot of times, not only are we telling stories as filmmakers, but now with the podcast, we're giving other people a platform to tell their personal story. And in this case, with Jody and the other people that we've had on as guests, we're basically, the feedback's been like, it's been educational as well as inspirational. And that's what we want to do. We just want to pay it forward, so to speak. And this way we can all thrive in the end.
Nice.
Very well said, Chris. No, absolutely. Because it's true. A lot of inspiring people. I'm sure there's a lot of filmmakers out there, Jody, that are very inspired by you. I know a lot of people try to make their films. Look what we all accomplished together. Not many people ever get to do that. I was inspired by watching somebody come with their script. I mean, look what you did. You flew across the country to go make a movie with, you knew me. You didn't know everybody else. So now you're sitting out there with, 45 strangers making this movie. And that takes a lot of guts to do that. And you should be really proud of yourself to be able to do something like that. It's not easy. You're out by a month with a bunch of strangers that become like your family eventually. But at the beginning, it's nerve-wracking. It's like being a kid at school, right? You walk in, you say, what am I getting into here? So it's quite crazy that you were willing to do that, and it says a lot about you.
Well, it's like sink or swim. There wasn't any place to run and hide, and there was no way I could, because I had the investors, I had all of you, I had my own personal expectations. I mean, there was so much that wasn't even an option. So even though there was, a little learning curve at the beginning, there was no chance that we wouldn't pull this off. That was it. If you have nowhere else to go, you just do it. And I think I mentioned this once before, maybe on the last podcast, but I always do better if I'm bombarded with a lot of tasks, right? Because I don't have time to think and to get in my own way. And I turn everything over to God. You guys know this about me. I ask for discernment. I ask for His will. I ask I ask myself to just let go and let God do it for me, not in a lazy way, but He's directed me to do certain things, and then I don't want to get in the way at that point. So I always ask to let His will be done. And even if things look like they're going crazy, there's a reason. I mean, we don't know, but if there wasn't that car accident and we had shot straight through, maybe things would have been worse in another way. Maybe the performances wouldn't have been there. Who knows? We don't know. So we just have to go with the fact that that's what God wanted us to do, and we did it, and we made it work. Yeah. In every aspect. I mean, we had so many. One night in particular, we just had so much. Joe was up till 4:30 in the morning.
That's all right. Yeah, you got to do it. You do what you do, right? That's what filmmaking is, and people have to realize it's a process. You have to love this. It's not easy. It's very daunting. Everything that will go wrong. Anything it can will. And you have to love it so much that you're willing to, trudge through all that stuff. And like you said, Jody, it's the people on the ship with you, and not when it's going smooth. Everybody is on board. It's like you're on a big, country club style, cruise there with everybody laughing and having a good time when things are smooth sailing. Wait till you hit a few rocks. You want to have the team that when you start to sink a little bit, that doesn't jump off and sticks by you. And I remember at the beginning when we started this, one of the things I said to you was, look, I guarantee you we'll make a product. We don't know if it's going to sell and make $100 million. Nobody can guarantee that, right? But what I could guarantee you is we will make a great product, and we will never jump off that ship and never leave you alone, and we'll be honest with you to the end. And when you have a team like that, you will navigate anything together, because when it's good, it will be even better. And when it's bad, you'll pull each other through. And you need people, because you can't go through it alone when things are bad. It's very nice to look at the person next to you and be able to, hey, they're doing it with me. That makes all the difference in the world, I say. It's a huge deal.
Yeah, we always say, for years I've been saying, from concept to completion, we'll hold your hand. But the film was completed and released. We kept holding hands because we enjoy working together. We're very all passionate about what we're doing. And look what happens now. Film festivals and the future of Coco, it just keeps expanding with everything that we just mentioned earlier.
No, it does. Yeah. Now, you look at a lot of big filmmakers, and it's the same names on all the films. And you kind of go, why are they doing that? Well, that's why. Yeah. Because they know what they can get. Yeah. I'm calling, Joe, Sally, and Fred, and I know that they're going to do exactly what they're supposed to do. Yeah. They all get along. Nobody, is posturing for power. Yep. And that makes sense. So when you get a good team together, why switch?
No, you're absolutely right. And one negative person with the ill intention can mess the whole thing up so easily. Because it's so easy. Oh, well, this is too late and too long, or this is happening here, and why aren't we doing this? And come on, it's very difficult. So if you don't, I always say at the beginning, we laid out, and we did to everybody. We were very transparent with what people were going to be getting paid, how long you'd be on set. We were very transparent at the beginning. So if you don't want to get involved at the beginning, don't get involved at all. That's what I always say to people, right? If you don't want to do it, just say no. Don't come on board and then complain about it later. If you want to do it, you're in. If you're out, no hard feelings. Maybe we'll do the next one together. I'd rather have somebody leave at the beginning and complain halfway through.
Yep. Yeah.
Look, and everybody has their journey in life. And I always say, like you said, God has a reason. Things happen for a reason. And I always say, look, people have their purpose in life. People have their perspective. So let people be themselves. I never try to judge anybody. I never try to say anybody's a bad person. They're going their thing, right? Yeah.
You never do.
No.
I'm going to add
really
something
don't.
to this. Like I say, I always mention your characters, hope and faith. I loved it. But the trust is the thing I see here and outside of the film with the people behind the film and production. We trust each other. And basically, that's what all it takes to regardless of what happens, whatever obstacle was thrown, we're able to recover and not give up. As you said earlier, we will find a way to get this job done no matter what. And if it means removing someone or adding someone, we just do what it takes. Because as producers, we're very good at that. We're very, very resourceful. That comes, in our benefit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing that was so surprising to me is once this was finished, how many people came up to me then? They didn't do it before, which was good. They waited till after and they said, you know how many people actually never even finished shooting, let alone editing, let alone, what? I didn't pay attention to that stuff. I go and turn on my TV and stream movies all the time. And it's like, wait, well, everybody what? How many? Don't.
Yeah.
So that was a surprise. And it was kind of like, oh, hey, good.
No, every film that's made is a massive accomplishment. I don't care if it's $1 or $100 million. Most movies do not finish. Most don't even get past development. Most that get past development never get past pre-pro. Most films fall apart on set, and most that get into post-production never get distributed. So people don't realize how many stages there are in filmmaking and how many available moments there are for it to fail. That's what people don't realize. At every single one of those new stages, you have the ability to lose everything. It is very scary that if people don't know what they're getting into or aren't ready for the long haul, it's not an easy journey. Compare it to climbing a mountain, right? A mountain climber that's going to climb a mountain that's going to go into the snow and the frigid weather is not starting without making sure they're completely prepared with all the proper gear and food and warmth. They know, and they're going to be in for a long haul journey. Unfortunately, with filmmaking, people don't even look up the mountain and realize. They just say, hey, I'm going to shoot a movie. It's going to be easy. That's it. They don't realize there's all these stages.
It's a big, steep mountain.
It's a big, steep mountain. And a lot of people don't realize, especially with things like distribution, people never mostly get to that phase. So people don't really have any idea about film deliverables, E&O insurance, all these things that are required at the end, and making sure that when you set up your movie for post-production, you need to make sure that you have the proper format. You need to be exporting this in the correct file size and all this stuff that's happening. It's not the same as clicking a movie and saying, put it out there and just put it online. And that's great if you do that. But if you're actually trying to sell a film, there are so many little pieces of the puzzle that can mess up, that can cost you thousands and tens of thousands of dollars and man hours and time. It's a lot of moving parts,
It's daunting, really. It's really daunting.
Even things like shipping. Look at all these hard drives we went through, Jody. When you're shooting a movie, we shot on like 3 red cinema cameras, right? These are high-end pieces of equipment. People don't realize now you need high-end pieces of hard drives to be able to handle the running power of these things. You need to store this footage. You need backups of backups of backups. I had backups. Jody had backups. We're sending.
I've got so many hard drives now. I mean, I've got them all sitting in here, all these hard drives, and I have to find the cables, and then I have to keep running them to make sure they're. I've never done that stuff before. It's kind of cool, actually, because then
a sense of security it provides. You have everything.
I know.
Exactly. Get it on film in the first place.
Yeah. Now I need to get those small ones.
No, those are nice. But even think about having multiple cameras. And things, we have top of the line equipment. Our one camera operator comes up to us. He looks like he's in a panic state. I said, what's the matter with you? We're about to shoot one of the big scenes. And he goes, oh, the camera just blew up.
Yeah.
But if we didn't have backups, that wouldn't help us at the time. Of course, Red goes, yeah, look, internal error, things like this happen. Once in a while, things just break. It wasn't dropped. Nothing was done wrong. But if you're not prepared for all these things that will go wrong, like if you're a new production and we just rented a brand new Red or bought a brand new Red or brought a brand new Ari. If you don't have backups to these things and aren't prepared for that, you're in trouble. It's a lot of moving parts.
Having a third camera in that day really gave a peace of mind because we just have 2 cameras still.
Oh yeah, well, maybe you don't have to panic, right? So because then all of a sudden you're trying to call these camera houses, and they'll rent you a camera, but try getting a last minute expedited delivery. You're spending a lot of money that's not in the budget to now get that camera out there. So we're very lucky. Yeah,
we're living our dream.
Literally, we are, and all these things are part of living the dream. And it was a fun process, and these are the things people have to realize. It's not living the dream doesn't mean smooth sailing all the time. It means navigating and figuring it out. That's so important. But I think all of us say.
I would love to find out from people who just seem to have it all. Do they actually ever do they feel like it's what they hoped it would be? Right? I wonder how many people actually feel that way, because, I think we both, or all three of us, actually feel pretty good about this.
Yeah.
But it's still not, it wasn't like you just sort of did it and had this relaxing time and everything was smooth sailing, like you say. It was a lot of, trials and tribulations. And I just wonder if anybody actually feels like, every day it's a breeze. I think the only person that I ever heard say that was Ted Danson when he was talking about doing a sitcom. And he goes, oh, it's the life of Riley. And it's so easy. It's this and that. That was the only person I ever heard say that. So maybe that's it. When we do Cocoa, it'll be just a breeze.
Dream for our success, because, as you know, it's a painstaking process at times.
Well, the three of us, Jody and I, not only were we co-directors, we also were producers. Chris is a producer with us. We had other great co-producers as well. But people don't realize why, and a lot of people don't know what producers do, and this has nothing to do with the strikes and the unions and like the studios. These are producers that are on the field doing the work every day, organizing everything. There's a reason why the Best Picture Oscar goes to the producers, because they put everything together. It takes so much work. And essentially, we're like a bunch of CEOs running around, and you never see CEOs in board meetings having tons of fun. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of work. It's like...
Isn't that the truth?
Right. We're putting out all these fires
on them. Right.
Yeah, so the reason that maybe somebody like Ted Danson's having fun on set is because we're there putting out the fires without people knowing. Like you said, when that person was in a car accident, well, we had to make a decision. We can't let the entire set know that there's a major problem, because it may affect the actors. It may affect the workers. What if the actors who have an affinity for this other actor now start worrying? Is my friend in trouble? Are they going to be hurt? This affects everybody. So now we have to keep everything calm here. We have to then put out this fire over there and figure this all going on at once, also maintaining a place of professionalism, but at the same time being sympathetic and trying to help this individual. So we're kind of like hiding the fire in the kitchen as we're putting another fire out here as we're trying to make this work here. A lot of work. So, it's a lot.
Truly. It's monumental. And producers, what you're saying, what do producers do? Well, they sort of, the moms, the dads, the everything, they have to really hold everything together and make sure that all parts are running smoothly. And I think the producer needs to know pretty much everything that goes on. And the more knowledge they have about every particular job, or even the actors, and they have like a working knowledge of that, the better they can be.
I love the reference to mom and dad, because I always use the film, the product, as the baby. And we're going to be with it at least for we're carrying this at least 9 months to a year or two, right? And we're not dropping
Good analogy.
It's in perpetuity. This film will be on, able to see for the rest of everyone's life and then some. So this is
fun.
I love it. It's great. Your child never leaves home, because it's always taken care of.
Well, sometimes it's good, and sometimes like, okay, do you want to go already? In a day out.
What's good is we can be very...
You're like, when my child's 18, they're out of here. Good night.
Well, we could be very proud of this child. I mean, Coco is such a great film, not only from a filmmaking perspective. The morality and the message that Coco brings across is something that you can be very proud of. We can show this to any family members. It's not a film that, you make, and then, on Christmas Day when you're with family, you have to hide the fact that you did it. This is a film that everybody can be very proud to have worked on, very proud to have been a part of. So I'm very proud to have this film attached to my name for the rest of my life. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, but you're right. You don't have to hide anything or cough over a bad part, or, drop something so everybody, turns to the back of the room and off the screen at the appropriate moment. None of that.
No, I love this. Absolutely right. And I love this.
One for all.
Absolutely right.
I always feel that way. I never want to shoot ourselves in the foot. It's what's best for the project, what's best for the baby. It's not you taking all personal feelings, everything bad. We're doing what's best. We're logically thinking through, piecing this together despite all the obstacles, and what's best for the baby.
Yeah.
Which is our film.
Well, I have to say, we have an amazing team here. I'm very proud to be a part of it. I think Coco is fantastic. Yeah. I'm very excited Jody, is there any last piece of advice you'd like to give to any aspiring filmmakers, entrepreneurs, people that are following their dream, as somebody who did it, as somebody who just lived through it and took that journey? Any little piece of advice you'd like to give them before they get started on this quest that they're about to go on?
Well, I will say when I was studying acting with one of my acting teachers years ago, he encouraged all of us to write our own script and try to get it produced. And I thought, oh my gosh, writing a script, are you out of your mind? I can't write anything, I just don't have the talent for it, or whatever. And years later, out of a necessity to have control over a role, to, give myself the kind of role I wanted, I kind of started, messing around. Oh, I'll put this, a little treatment here. Then I just decided to write. And then all of a sudden it turned into something I never in a billion years thought I could do. I did that with my music too. I never thought I could write music or write lyrics. And it was the same thing. There's a necessity. You just decide to do it, one step at a time. And all of a sudden you've got something. So I would say for all actors out there, just start with a short if you don't think you can write a full-length feature, and put it together, because you'll be amazed at what you can actually do that you never thought was in your wheelhouse of talent or dedication to do, and you just do it. So I think that's really for every actor out there. That's it. And for, producers and things like that, I'll leave it to you to give your advice on that, because you've got a lot more experience in that world than I do. So
Jody, that was so well said. As always, it is always a pleasure to spend time with you. Again, Jody Mortara, everybody, actress, director, producer, award-winning filmmaker. You can find Coco right now streaming on Tubi, Amazon Prime, Google Play Movies and TV, along with Tubi through Indie Rights. It's a fantastic film, family-friendly. Check it out. Also, the Needs 2 Foundation. You're going to have the Needs 2 podcast, Needs to Bake, Needs to Shelter. A lot of great information on that we'll be putting the links below. You are a fantastic individual, an inspiration to everybody around you. I have to say, for the Live Your Dreams podcast, I'm Joe Gawalis.
Chris Victor.
We have been so happy to have you on board. We are the dreamers, everybody. Let's live our dreams. Thank you very much for coming on, Jody. As always, everybody, please like, subscribe, share. We are now on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, everywhere you do get your podcasts. So please like, share, and we're excited, and we'll see you all next week. Jody, thank you for coming on.
bye, Chris. Bye, Joe.
Bye.
Thank you for having me.